Mm, 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 mm. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hopefully everybody can see in addition as well here. Happy Saturday. Yesterday is finito, so anything about yesterday is old news to us. Back to the grind, back to the work. One thing I will say, definitely very proud of everybody who was able to execute within the past week. I know last week was a game changer for a lot of people. So I do want to say that. And definitely, like I said, have a level of appreciation for everybody that's here. But we're gonna go ahead and get this party started. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll do that right now. So been a incredible week, but let's cap it off by paying attention to what's kind of next in front of us, next steps. So over the next couple of weeks, we're going to have a Federal Reserve interest rate decision. So that'll be on September 16th and 17th. So just as a heads up for everybody, that'll be on September 16th and 17th. Also for this week, we do have a couple classes tomorrow back at 8 a.m., Monday and Tuesday at 12 to 2. So 12 to 2 on Monday and Tuesday. So that's what we have cooked up there. Now, let me go inside here and pretty much just kind of recap some of the things next that we're paying attention to. A couple main focusing notes. I want to start off. I came in towards the back half of the day. So I got locked in on a position on TSLA. The position is out till January of next year. So January 2026. Got locked in on that position. So the reason why, one of the main reasons as to why that I'm focused on Tesla, this has been a position that's been building for some time. And I can't really time it well. I know a lot of other things I've been able to time well. This specific stock, I really can't time it. All I do know is that I have a strong gut feeling that over the next couple of months, we're going to see an incredible breakout here to the upside. I don't know exactly how it's going to happen. I don't know exactly what the news may be. Hey, maybe it's an earnings report. I don't know. All I do know is paying attention to this 363. Tesla has been unsuccessful in getting above that level all year. So we closed right here at about $351 a share. When we're able to get a daily or a weekly close above this 363, this thing is going to take off like a rocket. And so I started to open up a position yesterday on Tesla because it's starting to become harder to see this name actually coming down here to this downside. I know a lot of people have questions as far as TSLL. I'll get to them in a second. As far as the 2X levered ETF, that's always been a recommendation. TSLL, if you're trying to play Tesla, TSLL, which is a 2X levered ETF of Tesla, has always been one of my core recommendations if you want to get exposure, just like AVGX and all of the other names that we've discussed. TSLL right now is at about $13. So it's here at about $13, really sitting just looking the same way, sitting within an accumulation phase, the same way that we saw beforehand the last time that Tesla broke out. And so Tesla has made these patterns before where it sits sideways, it consolidates, and then it breaks out to the upside. So I just want to bring everybody's attention to Tesla, whether you get exposure to it via TSLL or whether you actually tag in on these January 2026 options. You know, you're setting yourself up for success. Once Tesla can break out over, once we can get Tesla to break out over this 363, this thing is going to slingshot to the heavens. So I like it a lot. I like the position. I think we're in a good spot. I like Tesla a lot here. And I expect to see some movement to the upside over the next couple of months. So those are my thoughts specifically there with TSLL. But we have another stock that's on the breakout. So I want to bring you guys' attention to this next stock. I didn't cover it last week, but it popped up on my radar. It's in the midst of a breakout, and that's ticker MU. I want everybody to pull up Micron Technologies, MU. So MU is in the midst of a breakout right now. Micron Technologies, ticker MU. I want everyone to pull that ticker up here. We broke above 130 on Friday. So ticker MU, they have earnings that'll come on 9/23. So in about 2.5 weeks. So September 23rd, put that on your radar. Ticker MU steps into the gauntlet here and goes ahead and report earnings. We've seen how certain semiconductor stocks can do on earnings, etc., all of that good stuff. But I want to make this move. I want to highlight what this move is about to happen next. So MU is getting ready to, they held pretty strong at that 111, 114 level, just getting above 130 as of yesterday. So if you're looking at ticker MU, I want you to monitor and watch MU to the upside, right? MU to the upside, a break over here right now at 130 leads us to our next couple key levels of 135.79 as well as 137.71. So those are your couple key levels here on ticker MU. So we're expecting a move here on MU to the upside, a nice breakout. Of course, other semiconductor names, we are not going to mention semiconductors too much because I want to move past that. But I could not let this call go on and not bring mention to MU. They're on a breakout right now. So a nice move to the upside. So you can see that clear as plain as day here right now. So those are my thoughts on ticker MU. We're going to take it to another ticker now here. And that ticker starts with an M, but it ends with a T. And I think you know what ticker this is. This is Microsoft. So MSFT, let's talk about it. It finally hit that 494 level yesterday. It seemed like it was taking forever for Microsoft to hit that level. So let's go ahead and pull up the QQQ as well, in addition to Microsoft MSFT. Let's pull up the Qs. Shout out to Google. Google had a good week. So it looks like, at the beginning of last week, I was trying to tell people, I remember coming in the first day of September, trading day of September, and people were like, man, the market's down. It was a lot of sad faces. And, looking across the board, we would see here on QQQ, the Q started off last week at 559. As of Friday morning's open, we were already back at 580. So this is why I always try to temper people's emotions on these red days. A lot of times we see significant drops in the market, but they don't really last long, right? These quick little drops, and then all of a sudden the market reverts right back upward. Hence, when we talk about asset allocation, what are the top stocks within the QQQ? You'll find Microsoft and NVIDIA leading, that race. But of course, AVGO is also a top 5 ticker now. So Broadcom was able, with what they did and the damage they did yesterday in a good way, they were able to lift the NASDAQ up temporarily. Of course, NVIDIA and as well Microsoft came rolling down, so that then dragged the QQQ down just because of how the asset allocation works. But 2 tickers last week, of course, AVGO as well as Amazon. Amazon had an incredible move. We're going to come, and I'm going to pull up Amazon's chart here in a second. But I've seen a lot of conversations with people talking about specifically Microsoft. So I wanted to weigh in on MSFT. Where MSFT is at, it's in a good zone. I know I want to say I've seen somebody talk about, like maybe the 470 range, etc. It's definitely possible, but I think even here right now, if you're looking at, if we are to see a pullback down, right? Let's say we do see a pullback down. I want you to watch this 494, 488, and 480 level. 480 is the sweet spot, right? So I want you to watch that $480 level. If MSFT gets down there, I know some people are looking and saying, hey, when would it be a good time to go in on maybe some Microsoft options, leak those things out, right? Put a year plus time on them. I think if, it's getting to that point where another nice flush and Microsoft comes back to a nice demand zone, it makes sense. Over the past couple of weeks and actually over the past month, Microsoft is almost down about 6%, right, here over the past month. So it's getting to that point where you say, okay, this is an ideal setup. It's pretty good, rock solid. When can we expect that next break? I would say, honestly, when Microsoft is able to make it back above 515, right? So just have that level on your chart, 515. Now let's take it because the word keeps coming right out of my mouth. I'm so excited to get to Amazon here today. And the reason being is because this 236 level, I want to highlight this 236 level. So Amazon's been playing for some time at this 236 level. We do have a chance of a potential DT, right? So where Amazon could be forming a double top. So we need to get above 236.34. So in order to push up to 240. So I want to make this note with everybody here. If Amazon wants any chance of really breaking out to the upside, it must get above 236 and head towards 240. As that happens, then you'll see, of course, Amazon make a new all-time high. But if we reject here, we could pull back down, could form a double top pattern here on the SPY and on the QQQ. So that is possible for us to potentially be forming that double top pattern. Right. So that double top, that DT pattern is something that's very possible here. All right. Next, we're going to talk about a mud play. This is a mud play that I came and spoke on about maybe a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago now. But it's Open Door Technologies. So everyone take down the ticker Open. If you're holding this ticker with me, Open broke out of a bull flag here on a daily time frame. We spoke about this on a previous watch list. Open is heading towards, let's go to the weekly time frame. This is a trash ticker, by the way. But we understand how to trade these things. Open Door Technologies. We got a target of about $10 on this name. So Open Door is now getting ready to be in an offload zone. Like I said, in between $7 to $8 would be the point to sell your position of shares. No one should, be too overexposed to this name. This is just simply a mud play, like we did Unity. We've done a couple other tickers, QS, QuantumScape. We did that a couple months ago, panned out well. So Open Door Technologies, mud play. If you hold shares on this name, get ready to go ahead and take your profits off the table. Once again, this is a mud play. So this is not anything that you should have house money on. This is a trash play. So you play it as accordingly. So look out for this to go ahead and hit those targets, over the next couple of weeks. The volume's been picking up on it a lot lately. Just know that when it hits some of these targets, it's likely it just pulls back hard. So I definitely wanted to make that note for everybody here, just so you guys know and stay abreast. This will be something that, definitely is going to, play out here over the next few weeks. So just wanted to make this note for you guys. So, yeah. All right, next ticker to go through. I want to go to a couple of, so these next few tickers, I want to speak about them pretty clearly. One ended up being a little bit of a disappointment. I would say, well, probably, I won't say a little, was a major disappointment. But this is like another example of sometimes you really just don't know. But I want to talk about Lululemon Athletica. So obviously we were short ahead of earnings. We were, looking to see a move down that never came until earnings. Earnings were abysmal. Hindsight, thinking back, could I have played the earnings? Yeah, definitely could have. It would have been a high risk to play two earnings on one day, though. I probably would have not slept that night, right? But ultimately, both ways would have panned out, and Lululemon would have printed a bag too. But here we are with Lululemon now. Let's break this business down, because Lululemon is just getting cheaper, but it's also getting to the levels that we once discussed. So if you notice, we discussed Lululemon coming down to making it to about $140 a share. We're at 167 right now. So a lot of questions post earnings, right? As far as what's my thoughts on Lululemon Athletica? Am I still bearish on the ticker here in the short term? A lot of questions there. And the answer to those questions is yes. I still am. I don't think earnings helped them at all. Obviously, I wish that would have been in on the earnings because I had the position and could have stayed, but nonetheless, it's cool. Uh, would have been an even bigger day yesterday. But you look at Lulu, if we can get Lululemon to come down, I mean, below 164, there's nothing stopping this ticker dropping from to 141. That's the sweet spot there. So I want you guys to put this on your chart. It's probably likely to trade sideways a little bit now before breaking any lower. But just know that Lululemon is getting ready to pull back down to 140 a share. Now, what happens at 140 a share, the company becomes more cheaper. I think the sweet spot on a P to E side, right now we're at 11. I think the sweet spot is around 7 or 8. So coming back down to the lower 100 range would be an ideal. You're talking about getting a ticker basically almost 80% off of its high. That's still a profitable business, but it's having some struggle points here right now. And so you want to try to find the best area to buy this specific name at. And this name, being able to pick up this name, ideally, would be, right around those levels. So that is where I wanted to, make mention and bring up here. So those are my thoughts specifically on this name. Next thing we're going to discuss. So just make sure you guys have that down below 164.74. This stock is going to head downward. So just make sure you guys have those notes down about this company. Next company, we'll keep this thing moving forward. I actually just mentioned it a few moments ago, if you were listening. And there's a reason I'm mentioning it now. Unity. So I want everyone to put ticker Unity on their watch list for the next couple of weeks. Unity actually had a pretty good day on Friday. Hold on one second. Unity was up 9%. So Unity broke out over 40. I want you to put these next two levels on your price alert list. But Unity wants you to look at 47.09 and $50. So I want to do this for my small account people, right? And obviously people with larger accounts, but just I know people with smaller accounts are always asking me, LE, what's a good play? What's a good play? So I got one for you. Question is, are you going to take it and are you going to do it the right way? So Unity, I would look at the 76 days until expiration, which would be November contracts. I think Unity would be perfect for you. Unity contracts, $40 strikes. So if you look at ticker Unity, $40 calls, right? With a target of 47.09 and a target of pretty much $50. Those are going to be your two targets, right? If you can get those are going to be your two targets. So November 21st would be my recommendation. Or you could go out to January 2026. It's really on you, right? But ultimately looking at that, that's where I kind of see the opportunities lying at with Unity. This breakout on Friday was pretty solid. So this is more of a smaller position. So this isn't a large account. You don't have to have a ton of money to get in this. You can get a contract for under $1,000, which is usually good in today's time with how expensive these options can be. So those are my thoughts with Unity. So Unity software. Once again, I want you to pull up that weekly time frame. I want you to go to this weekly time frame. I want you to see the breakout. Now, this is a ticker we called once before. We're doing it again here on ticker Unity. So expect this breakout, Unity software. So Unity software making a move back to about $50, making that move back to about $50 a share. That's our expectation over these next few weeks and coming months. So I would say the best thing to do would be go January. You could go as early as November. Don't do anything earlier than that on this specific ticker. All right. So that everybody should have the analysis on Unity. Once again, Unity software. Unity software. Stock was up on Friday with a nice macro level breakout. So you got some good stuff growing there here on Unity software. Now, we'll be getting ready for earnings season. You got JPM, which is going to go ahead and report. You got Goldman Sachs. So the banking sector will report at the top of pretty much October, mid and top of October. So we'll gear up for that. Ultimately, that's really the bulk of, things. I don't want to get too overstretched. One of the things that I wanted to stress about is anytime we do well, do well in the markets, we don't want to overexpose ourselves. So we want to take high probability setups, be calculated in the positions that we're taking. That's the biggest thing that I could stress is being calculated in the positions and the moves that you're making and not over leveraging yourself. Looking at the indices as I go to the QQQ and the SPY, obviously both of these are at the top of their games right now. Both indices relatively near all-time highs. You had the QQQ, which had a nice recovery. It got sold off pretty hard last week, so it was good to see that. You had the S&P 500, which came back up here to the upside, which was solid. Made actually a new all-time high on Friday, yesterday, before we pulled back down. So it was really good to see the recovery, relatively quickly within the markets. Also, the VIX got neutralized pretty fast. So the VIX is already back at 15. If you remembered at the beginning of the week, I told you that the VIX would come back down to 15, and it did. It absolutely did. So the VIX came right back down to 15. It started the week at 19. At the end of the week was at 15 again. The fear and the greed index, let's just get an update. Right now here is at about 53, right, on the fear and the greed side. So we're neutral still here on the fear and the greed. So that's really the bulk. We got some things coming up here. We got PPI and a CPI numbers, which will come out on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, September 11th is a very emotional day for a lot of us here in America. Of course, 9/11. So we'll be tapped in tow, but we'll wait on the FOMC interest rate decision on the 17th. Wednesday the 17th, September 17th, Federal Reserve interest rate decision. We've seen a few downgrades as well. A couple tickers like AMD, certain names within that, certain names across the board received a couple downgrades out of the blue last week. So you got some analysts which are trying to get some of these names cheaper. You got names like NVIDIA, which broke below 170 on Friday. A little bit of a sell-off post AVGO's earnings. Broadcom, is firing on all cylinders. So shout out to them. Did their thing. But we pretty much just take this time just to move on. It's a new day, new opportunity. Tons of things brewing. Outside of, looking kind of ahead looking, but outside of Tesla, there's a stock I do want to talk about, and that's META. Of course, we know what that is. That is Meta Platforms Incorporated. So I want to talk about Meta. So for those listening here, just listen up for a second because I'm about to give you a 5-star play. So Meta Platforms, I like the way that we held. I like this falling wedge that we're in, like how we held at 724. Watch that break back above 760. But I like Meta Platforms. I know their contracts are a bit more expensive, but I like Meta Platforms to the upside. I think Meta Platforms is about to go on a run to $800 a share. So just like Tesla, I think is going to go on a run. I think Meta is more bona fide to go on a run. If I had to say which one would I take, I would definitely take Meta hands down over Tesla. But Meta is about to go on their $800 a share run. I can see it kind of building. This pattern is perfect, a breakout of the falling wedge with strong volume. So I like Meta. I would look to push this out January 2026 and further, just to give yourself time. Honestly, it could happen sooner, as we know, maybe an earnings report, some form of momentum in the market. But Meta plus 800 is coming soon. So I just want to make that note. If there were two tickers, it would be Meta and Tesla over the next couple months that I think had the chance to explode. I would take Meta over Tesla, though. Meta over Tesla. So those are specifically my thoughts, here on this Saturday. I'll spend the rest of the Saturday kind of building up the watch list for the week. But as you guys can tell, the rest of this watch list is going to be pretty light. Sit back, enjoy. Let's not force anything. Let's not give any of this money that we just pulled out. Let's not give any of this back. That's not the goal here. I don't plan on giving any of this thing back. So let's just continue the compound effect, build. You know what I'm saying? Let's just continue to build. And, I appreciate everybody for being on the Zoom here this morning. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this Zoom and get busy for the rest of the day. So you definitely want to, someone said I would take anything over Tesla. Yeah, you could definitely take METU for sure. But no problem. Let me give you, so yeah, Meta and Tesla. But I would say, once again, if you're hearing me closely, I don't want no one to take Tesla and then it go the opposite way and then you mad at me. Listen, I told you to take Meta over Tesla. Now, as far as for I see someone asking me about Visa. It's possible that Visa could come down this low. It did not break over 351. So definitely below 338, it is possible. The DIA may have a pullback here. So that's something to keep in mind for the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Yep. Well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would say you could look at like a 720 to 740 strike on Meta. I would look out till January of next year. Put some time on that thing. Nothing short. Definitely put some time. I know it'd be expensive, but it'd definitely be worth it. Once again, Meta $800 campaign is coming. So Meta's trying to take this move up to $800 a share. Yeah. Yeah. I would not buy. I definitely I would not buy any METU shares. And great question that Annie's asking. Any 2x levered ETF, guys, do not buy any 2x levered or 3x levered ETFs at all. Not right now, unless it's in healthcare. That's the exception. Unless you're talking to me about ELIL or UNHG, do not buy anything 2x levered. I want to stress that. Unless you're talking about those names. And lastly, maybe Econo, which is Coinbase's. That's it. Those are the three exceptions. And realistically, I would even wait for a pullback on Eli Lilly and UNH to even get their 2x levered ETFs. So really only Kano below $20, right? So even the ones that I'm highlighting, they're not even in the best position that I would say to buy. So any 2x or 3x levered ETFs, do not buy those names. Once again, if I was able to guide you at the low to get those names, please trust me on this. You don't want to get caught buying those at the top. Please do not buy 2x levered and 3x levered ETFs. You know what? I'm even do this just so we had this, because I don't want no one to make the mistake and then someone come back and say, well, he told us to do it. I ain't telling him to do nothing. So we're going to just put that on the text box here just so it's nice and bright. So do not buy 2x or 3x ETFs. Right. So it's right here on the screen. So everybody saw it. Do not buy 2x or 3x ETFs. Listen, I'm telling you, someone will. And they'll come back and they'll be like, yo, it was his fault. It was his fault. So do not buy 2x or 3x levered ETFs. Do not buy 2x or 3x levered ETFs. Yep. All right. So everybody have a great rest of your Saturday. And we'll touch bases soon. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Appreciate everybody for being on this morning. Thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed one.